We go. All right, welcome back to another episode of Behind the Veil with BoneZee and Conscious Evolution. I'm your host, AJ. Joined with the Bones. How you doing, Bones?
The Bones. What's up? Long time no see.
Yeah.
How'd you like it?
It's been like a week. Yeah.
Well, it's been about 10 days. Yeah, it's been a while.
So. Yeah, I got left there on Monday. That's right. Yeah.
Like it, could live without it.
I'm sorry. Say that again. Your connection was a little bad.
Oh, was it? I said, what did you think about Indiana? Did you like it? Live without it?
I liked it. You know, I really like going to that park. That Mounds Park was pretty badass. Like the stuff there, like I know we didn't even touch on like an eighth of that park, but I mean that's really I still haven't even gone through all the pictures I have from that, and I haven't even sent them to our elemental person yet. But like
I sent her a few.
Did you?
She sent me an email, and so I just started firing pictures to her. She gave me her number, and she had told me some, what she had seen. Because the cave, they covered that cave up, and she had talked about a cave. She thought, she didn't know if it was that place or someplace else I'd been going. Which there's another place I go called Shadyside Park, and there's an old cave there, but it didn't have. I think the cave she's talking about is this one here where we was at, and they covered that up years ago back in the 60s, dude. But yeah, she was describing it, and from what she could see, you know what I'm saying, which I've never seen it, so I don't know. I can't, confirm or deny that that's what it looked like. But yeah, it's pretty wild.
But she's never been there.
Yeah, and that place is I don't know. I get the vibe. I go there. You can just feel it. You know what I mean? That's sacred ground, man. That's sacred ground. That's and it's been a site. It's been a Native American site for fucking since paleo times. Because we look for artifacts, and then we got fields that are close right there within a quarter mile, and we found 10, 12,000 year old stuff. So we know that that site, and it's a cliff. It's a big hike. Me and you were on the river bank right there. Mm-hmm. Paleo people, they're known for high banks. And then the cave dwellers, they were, that's early archaic, so. But yeah, anyway.
That's fascinating. I saw you got a lot of those arrowheads, man. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Like a ton.
Yeah, they're everywhere. They're everywhere, dude. All over the United States. That's what's funny. If you find a plowed field, go walk that, dude. And like I told you, if it's around a graveyard or a creek, boom. You'll find arrowheads. Boom. It's funner and shit too, because you're the first one to touch that thing, and some of them are thousands and thousands of years old, and you hold it and you just wonder, was there like a animal carcass laid here with this in it, or was this shot at somebody? Was this how'd this wind up here? You know what I mean? Yeah. And your imagination just goes crazy. But yeah, it's cool. Fucking cool. I love it, dude.
That is cool. I mean, just the history of it alone, the age of it's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the topic we wanted to talk about today was programming. I feel like that's been coming up a lot for me lately, so I wanted to talk about it. And because we're all programmed. I mean, that's just the reality of it. And I think when you are starting in your awakening process, you become aware of that you are programmed, and
yeah,
like we were just talking before we turned the camera on, that there at least what I find for most people, I know you and I have experienced that there was like two awakenings. Your first awakening is that of you're still in that fear and guilt control matrix. You're still in that programming, and then once you in that programming, you're like, everyone's out to get us. We're all controlled. We're all slaves. Blah 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 blah. You know, all that.
Right.
You know, victim mentality. And then once you awakening to that spiritual part of it, then it's like a whole new ball game, and then everything's in love, and you realize everything that's happened is something of your own doing, you know, of your own creation, its own lessons that you're learning out of it. So in essence, all we're doing and everything that I do on a daily basis, I feel is to reprogram my mind. So
Right.
like, you gotta program your subconscious. Your subconscious is a great servant but a terrible master. So if like your subconscious is going to be programmed, it's whether you just allow it to be programmed by, you know, whatever
Right.
you
Right.
see
It
in your
depends on what
videos,
program you
or
want to run.
you take
Yeah.
control of it and control what program is running in your subconscious.
Right. Right. It's just like a computer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
What program you run, you know what I mean?
that's exactly how I see it. I mean, that's what it is. This vehicle, this body is our computer. You know, this is our
Yeah.
operating system, if you will.
Right. And it's hard to, when you go through this awakening deal, you want to get, I don't know, I know you think this too, and a lot of us do. We want to get away from the fear, and you really know, because you're just going back to the same shit, same fear base, but you have to talk about, because the, like you said, the initial part of your awakening is realizing that you are a slave, realizing, how this paradigm is working, how you're bought into this idea, this bullshit idea, and you're sort of trapped in this, like chasing this, I like to call it chasing the credit score thing. You're trying to be as good of a slave as you can possibly be and get this high score and show I'm a good slave, you know what I mean? And that's how I think of it, it's just, but and it's hard to talk about, the awakening and moving into the love and light. But at the same time, you're faced with it every day. I mean, it's just, you're caught in it. You're stuck in this web. You ain't just going to step right out of it, So now you got to start snipping some of the lines, you got to start snipping the lines. You got to get your shit in order, man. You got to downsize. In my mind, you need to quit worrying about what the Joneses are doing. Quit trying to fucking buy up, and quit trying to get yourself in debt, looking flossing, being a fake ass motherfucker, because that's what everything is now. Everybody's fucking fake. Facebook is so fucking fake. You see these dudes got 3,000 friends. Like, bitch, I know you. You ain't got 3 fucking friends that even like you. Every one of them talk about you behind your back. You got 3,000 motherfucking friends on your shit. You don't know none of these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? If they knew you, they wouldn't be on your friends list. You know what I'm saying? So it's a fake, fucking fake. I can't stand fake shit. And, people need to just downsize, get a vehicle that you can pay for and afford. And it doesn't matter if it's pretty. It doesn't matter what people think. It doesn't matter. Get a house that you only need what you need, enough room of what you need. You don't need a fucking big giant mansion trying to fuck buying low self-esteem bullshit. You know what I mean? I just don't. And that's what the paradigm is right now. It's got you thinking you need to buy something big or you're not going to amount to shit.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't have an issue with if you want a nice house, if it's within your means. Like if you can afford a big house, if that's something you want, but do it for the reasons. Do it for you. Don't do it to impress others. You're doing it to show off, I feel, in most times.
Right.
You're getting that fancy car to show off. It's like, when people buy an expensive car and they know nothing about it, like I know more about your car than you do, and you just spend $200,000 on it. Like
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, to me, unless you can go out and pay cash, if you got money laying around like that, and you can do that, yeah. But most of us can't, So we really feel like we really feel like, what's people going to think? What's people going to think? I mean, really, we get caught in that. You know what I'm saying? And you get yourself in debt. You know what I mean? You get yourself in debt. Next thing you know, you're working 2 jobs. She's working 2 jobs. And sure, you got some nice shit, but you can't enjoy none of it. You know, you're fucking working your ass off.
Yeah.
You know.
And the bank still owns it. You know, the bank owns it until.
Yeah. At the end of the day, yeah. So I just think that, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, within your means, get things, and you got to be the same way mentally and financially. You have to like get a grip. You know what I mean? You got to get focused and silence out all this bullshit. Keep things simple. Keep things in front of you. Keep it nice, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you can really move forward, man.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to say. The way I think about it is it's less things for you to worry about. You know, if you live well within your means, you're not going to stress about making a payment on anything. You know, anything that has to do with stress or worry or fear or doubt is all of an old energy, an old paradigm, your old programming. You
Yeah.
know, and I don't want to be involved in any of that. You know, and I still just the other day found myself getting caught up in that, like a fear of lack, you know, not having enough money to pay what I need to pay for, you know,
Can't
and
help it.
I
Can't
pretty
help
much
it.
got pulled back into that
Oh
old
yeah.
programming, you know, and I was stressing, I was worrying, my heart was pounding, like what the am I gonna do? And then,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I had to switch out of that, and now, you know, it still creeps up and gets in there, like, you know, because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to work out. I just know, trust, and believe that it's going to work out. And that's all
Yeah.
that matters, because it
Right.
will, you know.
Right.
I just because I don't see it doesn't mean it's not going to work out. It's going to work out. It always works out. It's always going to work out. You know, I
Yeah.
believe we're all divinely guided and there's a plan. But and while you're on the road, I feel like you got to continuously reprogram, you know, to look at things in a new light, to look at things at with multiple perspectives
Right.
to get the best, you know. So if you can look at one thing from several different points of view, I feel like you're not as quick to judge, you know, because you can see
Yeah.
it from this way, you can see it from that way. That's what I've always tried to do is look at everything from at least the two people involved from each viewpoint, you know, how they see it, how I see it, how that person sees it. But I was listening to Feel Good last night, and he said that it was a video about the watchers. He was talking about your higher self, and that they're watching you, they're waiting for you, looking to see if you can expand your mind, expand your consciousness to look at these situations with different perspectives. You know, look at it with multiple perspectives, because really, I mean, if there's infinite amount of realities that are happening simultaneously to right now, and everything's happening in the now, there are infinite possibilities of that situation and perspectives of that, you know. So
Yeah.
if we do that, I feel like that'll really expand your mind and really help push you towards whatever you're working for, you know, with that inner peace.
Right. Right. Yeah. And you know, and like you was talking about too, there's your second part of your awakening, where you get to um I don't know, you like move into the light, you know, you start getting into this whole different way of thinking, you know, and you're really like moving towards the love and the light, you know what I mean? And but you're still caught, you know, you're still caught, and it's like I don't know, man. It's something you just like you said, you gotta you gotta maneuver your way around it. You gotta think your way through it. You know, you gotta just change the way you are, because if you're still caught up in trying to, I don't know, to me, man, I think you get caught up in that trying to look a certain way or have certain things. You get caught up. That is what the whole slave thing is to me. That's the whole, you know, that's where you're caught. That's the thing that you're caught in. So, but you got to have money to eat. You got to live. So there's this, you know, this balance. You have to do something. You have to make some money, and you got to get caught up in this shit. You got to go somewhere to make that money. You know what I'm saying? So, man, you know, it's a journey. It's a journey.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and
But
that's you just talked about appearances, and I think that's a huge thing, especially with Hollywood and the magazines and everything. They're selling a certain appearance
yeah,
that people feel that they need to strive for, that they need to be that kind of perfect, you're
yeah,
perfect
yeah,
the way you are. The
right,
important thing is not for you to look like they look or look like they tell you to look. It's to be happy with how you look. And if you're not happy with how you look, then do something to change it, but still love yourself all the way.
right,
Everything starts with self-love. It all starts from there, and everything just kind of works out a lot better when you do
yeah,
truly love yourself. And that requires you to be really, really honest with yourself, see things
yeah,
how they are, how you're judging people, how you're nitpicking, or how you're shaming yourself because you're not happy with the your gut or how whatever appearance is. It's all appearances. This is your vehicle. This is your your body that you chose or designed when you came into this life. So it's like this is just temporary. It's just flesh. It's only
right.
you'll transcend back. Like when we are finished with this life, I feel like none of this is gonna matter. Like it doesn't. You could be the best looking person in the world or the ugliest person in the world. Like it
Right.
matters none.
And it shouldn't even matter now, it's just like you say, that's just part of that old paradigm of worrying about it, and
Hmm.
it's like, just be happy, man, but, you do have to, you people, I'm very fortunate. Ended up, years ago, I became a real estate agent, and I took out a second mortgage. We had the first one paid off. It was paid for, but I had access to money, and that was right before the whole thing blew up in
Hmm.
2008. And
Hmm.
man, I got in with some brokers. We was playing golf, and I mean, these guys were just giving money away, dude. Got it from my friends, got it for myself, and got myself in debt again, and got that paid off. So we're good. So we don't have, my mortgage. I don't have to pay. It's bought and done, So I'm lucky, lucky, lucky. But a lot
Yeah.
of people got lucky. A lot of people, you got to shit between 7 and 1,200 a month, man, just for rent, you know. And that's fucking, I watch my kids struggle. It's like, damn, it's and man, and then trying to keep up with the Joneses, or trying to, save face, or whatever you call it, fuck, man, it's hard on it. It's hard, So you have to, you got to get out of that. You got to get out of that, man. You got to
Yeah.
down, realize, skip that shit. You know what I mean? Who cares what
Hmm.
people think?
Hmm.
That's freedom. That's cutting the chains right there. That's how you start cutting the chains, and that's how you move out of that paradigm and into the new. You know what I mean? But you can't until you start cutting those chains. You've got to.
Yes. Yes. And then and then you move. So, a majority of us are in that lack consciousness,
Right.
that we're trying to overachieve or overcompensate or to keep up appearances, not because that's what makes us happy, but because that's what you want to impress your friends or
Right.
family, or because that
Right.
that social paradigm, or that programming of your family, you're not a success until you have this and this, which
Mm-hmm.
which that's just the old energy, it's old programming, the old way of looking at things. And now, like, I feel moving out of the lack consciousness is probably the hardest thing I've been working on, because you spend your whole life. I've always, I grew up that way. It's deep seated from the time you were brought into this world. If you are, I don't want to say a lower class citizen, but if you're not that
Right.
wealthy 1% that never worry about money, then the most of us struggled for money, or struggled, live week to week
Right.
with making, from paycheck to paycheck, making payments and so on and so forth. But I feel
Yeah.
that that's all a learning experience also, that we've experienced that. It's just hard to shift out of that, to know that you're
Mm-hmm.
worthy, to know that you have abundance, and everyone has abundance, and it's available. Like, because you have something doesn't take away from anyone else's ability to have that. It's about your state of consciousness. So if you can switch your state of consciousness to that of abundance, then and you really got to believe it, you know. So like I do affirmations and everything every day, and I really do it. But it's still, like I said a couple of days ago, I got something in the mail that really threw me back in that old energy, and it was like reset everything I'd been working on. I feel like so I you know, doubling down now, and I'm doing even more research, and I like, and the research I'm doing is to program my mind, because everything you see is, I mean, your mind, your subconscious is recording everything. It's recorded everything your entire life, and
Right.
everything is energy. So every time you get that lack feeling, that energy is like attached to you, or it's like in your auric field, and you have to transmute that. You have to really get past that, and move in, and change your consciousness to abundance. And when I started doing that, it was amazing to me to see how the money just kind of started flowing in. And now when I talk about abundance, I don't just mean money, you know. Abundance to
Right.
me is the ability to do what you want to do when you want to do it. Unfortunately, that sometimes requires money, because money is a tool
Right.
to get
It's a tool.
what you need in this world, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's a difficult thing, I think, to make that transition, and you really have to be aware that you are, for one, in a lack consciousness, and two, that there's another way, and to learn that way, and to really do that deep dive inside to see, you know, how deep seated that really is. Like I've done some guided meditations or hypnosis meditations, and takes you back to like when you're a little kid, and you really don't realize certain comments that were made when you were like 5 years old really stick in there, and that has programmed your
Oh
subconscious.
yeah. Yeah.
And unless you see that or find that root issue where it stemmed from, like you can think of changing it, but until you get back to that and really work on that, like I feel like that is where you can let go, and start to really shift into that abundance consciousness, you know. And that's what I've been working on, and I can see a big difference just in how I've switched my perception of everything, and how I trust and believe in the universe, and how that is reflected in my reality. It's
Right.
really
Right.
amazing.
Yeah. And it's like when you trust in it too, you also take the pressure off yourself of having to have loops to jump through. You know what I mean? It's like
Mm-hmm.
because I've been, you know, I find myself, I've always, you know, if I haven't done this by then, I failed at something. You know what I mean? And now it's not like that. I'm like, you know, well, I met resistance. It wasn't meant to be at that particular time. If it is meant to be at this time, it will be. And I just trust in it. I just, instead of like thinking, oh God, I sure wish it would have went that way. Oh man,
Mm-hmm.
I always think, well, uh, there's a reason, there's a reason it didn't go down the way that, something either better is coming, or, something bad was going to happen, or just whatever, you know what I mean? I'm sure that
Yeah.
sometimes you get shit in, just because, but for the most part, I always try to think or try to look at it like, there's a reason, and it's a good reason. There's got to be a good thing behind it, and if you think like that, it's like we always say, it's a boomerang, dude. You got to think that positive, put a little positive spin on it, and that shit
Right.
comes right back in a positive, way. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
know
like,
exactly.
yeah, you got to hold every word, every thought captive, because the thoughts that you think, the words that you say, is all putting that order out to the universe, and that's going to come back to you. So if you
Yeah,
believe in shit, you're going to get shit. You know, if you believe that, that's what's
and
going to
almost
happen. And
everything you believe you got before you were 7 years old. All
yeah,
that shit, especially when it comes to your financial status or your self worth, or just everything about you that has to do with you on a very personal, primal, because if you could think of yourself as a blank tape, like if the only thing your mom ever said to you just in your entire life was, no, we can't afford that, it'd be easy for you to realize that one sentence, how powerful that was to you. But since she said all kinds of other shit, we don't really realize how that one sentence. But if that would have been the only thing she ever said, that would be the only thing on your tape. Well, it's just as important. Just because there's other shit on the tape, because she said a bunch of other shit before you were 7, doesn't mean that one thing she said doesn't carry that much weight. It does. You know what I
yeah,
mean? just like
Yeah.
all the other shit she taught you. You know what I'm saying? You know, we can't do that. We can't have this or whatever. You know what I mean? And then there's the other flip side of that where people are telling you, hell yeah, you can afford that. Shit, yeah, we're about money. We got money. Don't worry about that. I got it. You know, grandpa's got it. Somebody's got it. You know, so you get that, you know, then. And you also get the victim mentality. You watch everything your mom does. It's your mom who you watch the most, and you watch your dad too. But, you know, you get everything that you see. You know, a lot of kids, if their mom's scared of spiders, this kid is scared of my sons. I don't get it. They're scared of spiders. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you? Because their mom is scared of spiders. I'm like, why are you scared of a spider, dude? It's this little, you know, some people are scared of spiders, but it's
I don't
usually
like spiders. Yeah.
Are your parents scared of spiders?
Oh, my mom, yeah.
That?
Yeah, my mom. I was raised mostly by my mother, so I got
Is she
a lot
scared
of
of them? Is she scared of them?
Yeah, I can't think of anything in particular, but I'm pretty sure she didn't mess with bugs in general.
Yeah. You get that stuff from your mom, you know what I mean, your dad or whatever, you know. And you're paying attention to that shit, you know what I mean? Everything, you know.
Yeah, even if you don't remember it, it's there. And like, and I also wanted to say, like, as parents now, like, we gotta watch what we say to our children, because, like, if you don't want to get them a toy, don't tell them it's because we can't afford it. Well, we don't have money for that. Think of another reason. Be creative. Like, okay, well, you know, if you were good today, maybe I would get it or something. Make it something different. Don't make it about money, because then you're going to create that energy in that child, especially in the kids that want toys. They're 0 to 7 years old is where you shape your belief system, you know, where everything is ingrained into you. I wish I had known this years ago. But you know, I can tell with how I handle situations with my kids when they get, you know, a little out of control now. Like, I don't yell at them. Like, I might have to get stern, but really I don't have to yell at them anymore. I can just keep that calm reserve, and I just talk to them, and I don't tell them we can't afford things, or I don't tell them we don't have money for it. I just say, well, we don't need that right now. We don't need that.
You got to reaffirm a lot of things. You got to, and I think it's real important to constantly tell them, you know, if you believe it, it can be real. It's no matter what it is, no matter how crazy it seems, you know, if you believe it, you'll start seeing that shit. You know what I mean? And let them always remember that, you know, that belief thing, that imagination thing, keep it alive through your whole entire life, because that's the box you get put in. They tear that away from you when you're young. They take that, and the best part of you is your imagination, man. That's the shit.
I tell them all the time that they're loved. You know, you're loved. I tell them for one that when they're sick, they're not really sick. It's just their mind. It's just them, you know, making that up, because like they get sick, and then their mom's like, oh, well, they're sick. You're sick. You're sick. You're sick. We gotta get a doctor. You're sick. Here's medicine because you're sick. You're like, no, you're not sick. Like, when we get sick, all these viruses and cancers are already inside of you. That's your body shifting and that energy to create that. Like, it doesn't come from an outside source, you know, it's already in you. So you already have the ability to cure yourself within your body. And also, I always tell my kids that I love them, obviously, like, they're loved. Love you, love you, love you, love you. And I always say that we have superpowers, you know, because that's going to keep that imagination alive. And they know, like, about the healing work that I do, and I mess around with them with the energy work, and they love it. But it's like, you know, we have superpowers.
Yeah.
Grow up knowing that, you know. Imagine if you were told that as a child, how much different you would be.
Oh, no.
If you grew up knowing believing you had superpowers, you know, even if you didn't, like, that's
just thinking you did.
Yeah, right. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I did want to mention this video I found yesterday where it has an exercise in it. It's called E.R.A.B.S or E.R.A.B.S. E.R.A.B.S. I don't know. E.R.A.B.S. And it's an exercise, and I'll link the video in the description below. But what it is, so it's like every day for like like 10 times a day. Set a reminder in your phone. And then when that reminder goes off, you do the exercise. And then it goes like this. So this is just like in a nutshell. So for the E, it stands for emotion. So what are you feeling at that time? So when your timer goes off, what are you feeling? Like truly, honestly, what are you feeling? And then is that feeling in love, joy, fun, or ease, or is it outside of that? Because anything outside of that is programming. If it's not in love, joy, or fun, it's programming. So
Right.
if it is that programming, recognize it for programming. And then B, okay, so that's the next one. R, recognition. And then the third one is A. So it's an acceptance that you are in that program, that you're thinking of that program. Thank that program for making you aware that you're thinking in a program. And then you're able to shift out of that into something that's more aligned with your true self, with your love, joy, fun, passion. And then the fourth one is B for being. You experience a deep understanding that
Hmm.
you are an expression of God. You're part of the source, the creator, the prime creator, if you will. And then
Right.
the third one is it's S. It stands for self-love. So really just love yourself. Like really reflect on that and I forget what it says. It says picture you becoming your inner being and turning around and giving like your human body a hug, embracing it and saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. Like you can't get enough love, you know.
Right.
And I think that's a great exercise, and I'm going to start doing that. I already started doing it, but I'm going to continue doing this. And if you set the reminders at different times throughout the day, you'll probably catch yourself thinking of something that's not in alignment with your purpose, with your true self, with your love,
Right.
passion, joy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then when you do, you can reflect on that. You can be, uh, you can have gratitude for that showing you that you're not in alignment with that, and that you can start
Yeah.
shifting or pivoting your beliefs something into more of your true nature, your true love.
Yeah, just self-awareness. Yeah, you just start just becoming self-aware, all day, all day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The
And
nice thing is you see patterns, like you're negative maybe 9 or 10 in the morning because you're either around somebody or because of maybe something you're watching a certain TV or listening to a certain radio or a certain, cut that shit out of your diet. You know what I mean? Whatever it
yeah.
is, start noticing, wow, I'm around this dude at 9 o'clock. I need to go, the long way when I go to, if you're going to the copy machine, you know what I mean? Go around the other way so you don't have to see this fucking photo. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But yeah, just being self-aware, just being, which I try to do that. I'm trying to be mindful every time I have a thought. I've been really, for whatever reason, man, I've been just like dissecting cognitive thinking, this process and the way we think of things. I've like been obsessed with it for, a month or two here. So, anytime I think of anything, I'm wondering, why did I think of that? How did I think of it? What caused me to think it, always. So yeah, that's the way you want to be.
That's yeah. And if you can trace that back to like why you're thinking that way, and when you catch yourself thinking that way, you can start to notice that pattern and
Yeah.
like figure something out, that when you start thinking that, to recognize immediately that that's programming and shift that away.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah. Like with me, growing up, for years and years and years and years and years, being insecure. You know what I mean? Stuff like anxiety from having an alcoholic dad and then a drug addict mom, and just the shit that I went through. You know what I mean? But you don't realize like how you either are thinking that somebody's trying to fuck with you, or you know what I mean, like an insecure thing, or like shit ain't happening fast enough, or it's not perfect. Just all these things that people have certain kind of issues. You go through. That's how you kind of like start figuring yourself out, like you was talking about, if you could look at yourself every hour and just look at yourself and say, why am I, why am I pissed right now? It's because so-and-so's talking about their brand new car or what, you know what I mean? It could be anything, because my mom texts me, she just fucking blowing my phone up, bullshit, telling me about my stupid, well, whoever,
Yeah.
and, so you start figuring it out that's part of getting out of these webs too, man, is, the self-inflicted, because we're, our worst enemies, really. I mean, we're always pouring gas on our own fires. We're always like, for whatever reason, if we're angry here, we're like, well, we know how to take it up a notch. We don't mind doing that. You know what I mean? With the quickness. So you got to get in the habit of, well, how do I deflame this? How do I deflate? How do I take this down a notch? And start getting in the habit of taking it down a couple notches, or not even letting it get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, that's control. That's where you start getting your control, and this whole paradigm, this whole programming you're talking about is because, it's the whole thing has to do with no control. You have no control. You're driving this because he's so-and-so, you're trying to impress these people. You're voted for them because you're trying to get in that crowd. You live in this neighborhood because you're trying to impress these people, and you're got a job because your dad, that's the field he's in, and you want him to be meet his approval. And, your whole fucking life, all you're doing is just like trying to just make everybody happy, and you ain't happy. You're just miserable,
Except for the number one you need to worry about being happy is you, not your family, not everyone else. Like, your family thinks that this should be how, like, this is what they picture as a successful person, and you strive to be that. But how did they get that? Think back to that. They got that from their parents, which was in a very old energy, in a very different time, different day and age. That time is no longer here, relevant. Like, it's not that day, it doesn't, like, you don't have to spend half your life in school and then become a lawyer and spend the rest of your life paying that debt. Unless that really is what makes you happy. Like, if that's what makes you happy, then do it. If not, then why? Because why? Like, why?
Right.
That's like, people think that they have to do, they're going to go to school, go to college, graduate, then they're going to get this job, and then they're going to get this wife and have these kids and have this house and this car, because that's what their parents taught them. That's what they know. So that's what they think success is. But all the while they're going through school, they don't like school. They get, to college. They don't like college. They don't like what they're going for, but they continue doing it because the pressure from their parents and society and their peers. And then they go through and graduate and get the job, and then they meet a woman and marry her and have kids immediately. And then later down the road, they realize, like, well, I didn't really know her before I married her. We just had kids. So, like, now what? Now what the fuck? Like, now you start thinking, like, oh shit, well, then I didn't do anything for me that entire time. And now, unfortunately, it's like a deconstruction of your life to start getting or finding what makes you happy. And because generally 90% of the time, in my experience, or 100% of the time in my experience with the people I've talked to, what makes them happy isn't in alignment with the life that they've created. I think you're probably the only person that hasn't like completely changed. Like, you and your wife have been on the same page all along. It's like, you guys.
Well, we went through some changes. I had we had some moments where I chased money and got ugly. I can't even do that, dude. Once I start getting involved with money like that, I'm a greedy. I can get greedy so fast, and I'll fucking cut a motherfucker's throat. And I like making money. I mean, I like making a lot more, And she hates who I become. She said, your forehead's wrinkled. Your forehead's wrinkled. I'm always constantly, in the middle of anything we're doing, I'm on the phone, telling her, go in the store, do whatever, get away from me. I'm on, this business. Money's, and I didn't like it. So I've done some things, I've made some, I've done a lot of different things, I remember it was real funny. It was right after I got out of prison, man. I had hair. It was like 4 or 5 years after I got out, but I had hair down on my ass, and I fucked up and ended up was about to go back because I kept flunking piss tests because I kept smoking bud, and so they ended up locking me up in what they call was a work release or whatever, you know.
Mhm.
And I get all my fucking hair cut off, and I go straight to Anderson College and join this real estate course. So I become a real estate agent. Well, I'll go from being this fucking hippie who was following fucking Jerry around to this real estate agent the next year. You know what I'm saying? Which I had a construction company, so I was doing both things. You know what I mean? So I was making some cheddar then. And but yeah, I've jumped in there and got in the white collar and tie and the whole thing before. I've made a little bit of money here and there before, but I've always had a hippie mentality. I figured it out a long time ago that if you want a $30,000 truck, you got to make 60 grand because, when you go to work, if you make 60 grand, they're getting half your money. They take a third immediately taxes, and then your fuel taxes and your excise taxes and property taxes and alcohol tax and tire tax and surcharge
Rain
tax.
tax, breathing
Every
tax.
they're getting half of it. So in order to get that $30,000 truck, you got to make 60 grand. That leaves you no money left over. Now you got the truck, but now you got to have a $20,000-$30,000 garage because you can't leave your fucking truck outside. You just paid 30 grand for this thing, and your insurance. You got to have insurance, and you're paying excess tax every year. And I'm sitting there doing the math on this shit, and I'm thinking about my old truck that I just paid $900 for, and it does the same fucking thing. And I don't care if I get a scratch on it. I don't, if it's broke, it's no computers or nothing. I just crawl in there, put an alternator or starter on it, whatever. So, in my mind, I got it figured out. You know what I mean? Quick, It's like I don't have to, and I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about me. You know what I mean? Just smack them in the head. Now what do you think? You know what I mean? So I don't care. I don't care about it. But yeah, it's just I figured that shit out early that I don't need like certain things and how much it actually costs for certain things. Because I got buddies, dude, and I like riding motorcycles, and I've never had a Harley. I've had some English bikes, and but my buddies who got these bikes, that like I said, they got to have the garage for it. It sits there. They're paying insurance. So it sits there all winter for 6 months, and then the 6 months that they do get to ride it, they're working all the fucking time, and they ride it. Maybe I'll see them. They go for a ride with the little charity rides or whatever they do. 2 weeks, so they're riding on it for that day. All the money and shit and time that they got in the garage and all that, they should just rent a motorcycle and save themselves thousands and thousands because they only ride it 5 times a year. You know what I mean? And just go rent a bike. You know what I mean? Why would you spend all that money? But I mean, if that's your thing, if you can afford it, I ain't trying to knock nobody. I'm just saying that ain't my thing. I just can't do that. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to work my fucking ass off so I can have a pretty ass bike in the garage. I'm not going to be working every single day. To me, in my mind, if it's an hour's worth of my time, because I don't know how many hours I got. I don't know if I only got 3 more hours to live. I don't know if I got 20 more years to live. So if it's something I don't want to do, somebody thinks, if you want to know what I think I'm worth an hour, like a couple $1,000,000. If it's something I don't want to do, I don't want to fucking do it. You ain't buying my time for 10, 15, $20 an hour, dude. I just, no, my time is worth, you know what I mean? And now if I have to, if I got to pay this and I have to pay that, which I do, but I got my ways of making money, and I keep it to myself.
Yeah, I mean that's whatever works for you, whatever makes you
right,
whatever you're happy with, whatever gets it done. Like that's what I'm working on. What I'm doing too. It's a complete shift from my previous life, from what I the 9 to 5 that I got out of, and everything I'm shifting to now is what mostly concentrating on the healing and how I can bring that to more people. And and I know that's my passion, that's my purpose, and I know that that's what I am going to do with my life. So I just have to figure out a way to get paid all the time to like have that as how to support me and the family with that. So the more I research this, the more I look into it, the more I'm learning of how, and it's like I don't want to force it. I can't force it. I know there's a plan. I know I trust and believe in that, and then it'll all work out and it'll reveal itself to me at whatever point in time it's supposed to, So really I'm just trying to do the legwork now to put that out to the universe. That's what I
Yeah.
want to do. That's what I'm going
Yeah.
to do. I am a healer, and
Right.
that's my gift, and that's my purpose. I know it. I
Yeah.
knew it the second I found out about it, like without a doubt. I still don't have a doubt.
Yeah. I think a lot of healers, that's a lot of you are, that's, it, you know what I'm saying? It's something that and that's, we had talked about the second awakening. Your first awakening was realizing this paradigm you're caught in, matrix, this web you're caught in. China's or North Vietnam's going to attack, or whoever it is shooting off the missiles, whoever. All the fear shit they got us like just distracted, the sports game, just all that. You realize it's all a bunch of shit. You know what I'm saying? And then you wake up to what your purpose is. Like you're a light worker, or you're a star seed, or that you feel like there's some other reason, and you've always known it, and you're remembering it, and you're like, damn, I've always known this. A lot of us are saying that. I knew since I was a kid, that something was going to go down, and I was going to be, and that's what we're feeling like. And once you break free of them chains and you start realizing, dude, I can, especially a bunch of us collectively, control our fate, maybe steer this boat, kind of get it back on course or close to on course, or at least put the powers that be under some pressure to get it what looks like to be on course. You know what I'm saying? Because we're starting to create this new movement of free thinking people, which is something they cannot fucking stand.
Yeah.
I mean, even YouTube itself is trying to shut us down. If you're a free thinker, man, they don't want that. There's power. There's power. Because it rips you free from the matrix, or that whatever you want to call it, that was called it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Programming.
Yeah, like I say, that second awakening is sort of the awakening like you're having. You're a healer now. I mean, that that's what you're doing. That's what you're gonna do. From fucking till you at the end of time. You know what I'm saying? Until you're done with it. But your purpose. Like we all go through life. You go to school, and then like everybody's like, Johnny, what do you want to be? Johnny, what do you want to be? What do you want to be? I don't know, fireman, an astronaut. You don't know what the fuck you want to be. President. You just say, I'll shoot off some shit, but you don't even know. And you go through your life, and you try to get this job, and you just get the job that calls first. You know what I mean? You put out 20 fucking resumes, and the first one that calls, that's where you're going. It ain't like that's your choice. So they chose you, and you're like, fuck, I gotta take what I can get. But then you wake up to like, this is like you wake up to what you are. This is what I am. This is what I am, and this is what I'm gonna do. So that's cool. I mean, that's cool as fuck. That's the awakening right there. That's what's up.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like it was funny because the second part of the awakening for me, I was obsessed with the fear, with the doom and gloom, like the end of the world's coming. That old energy thinking, the old prophecies that people are still holding on to, they're still grasping and still believe that that's happening. And it like I was so engulfed in that I mean, we've talked about it before. Like we both were at one point in time. We're really like we were preparing for the end, like and it was just at one point I heard a channeled message, and I didn't even listen to channeled messages at the time. Actually, I don't even think I knew it was a channeled message, but it was what was said that just hit home with me. And it was literally like this love energy just blanketed my body. I'll never forget it. I was standing in the living room, just standing watching the TV, like rocking back and forth, because I was like, oh my God, how much time do we have? We're all gonna die soon. Like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like, what, we got 2 years, we might have a year. What am I gonna do? I need a bunker, I need more food, I need more ammo, I need, like that's what's always going through my mind. And it's like, whoa. And then all of a sudden I just heard this one thing, and I just knew that everything was going to be okay. That it's gonna, and it's just like that calm that came over me completely changed my life. And then shortly after that, I had an experience with a being coming into my room, and I acknowledged it and showered me with love. And like, that was the first. But right before that, I remember that I asked for guidance, that I gave permission to intervene.
Yeah.
Like, I need help. I knew I was unbalanced and heading down a dark road, and I was scared. I was in that fear. And shortly after that, that all this happened. And then once I started shifting that mindset, immediately after that, I had the vision about my hands being lit up, and then was led to a video talking about the Reconnective Healing. And
it's amazing.
That was 6 months ago, like.
It seems like forever, but it was not long ago.
Yeah, I can't even remember that feeling. Like, I can recognize it and see and know that I was there, but like, I spent just as much time in that fear as I do now in the love. You know what I mean? Like, I am consumed with this life, with reality, with love, with reprogramming my mind. Like, everything I do is working towards that, to build the wealth of knowledge in my mind. It's like, it's never enough. It's never, I know you're the same way, because you read all the time. You're always doing research as well. And it's like, we're never, that thirst is never quenched, no matter what it is. And it's like, the more you learn, the more questions you have. It just keeps going. Deep rabbit hole of love, joy, fun, and passion.
Where are we at? 33?
Yeah, I think we're at about an hour.
Are we?
Yeah. I don't know how long we talked before we turned the camera on, but it's been an hour and 7 minutes. Time goes by fast. All right. So, I think that's good. I think we touched on a lot of important issues here.
Yes, sir. What episode is this? 12?
Well, I was thinking about, I should have named our video in the woods the Behind the Veil. So I'm going to go back and change that and make that number 11, because I didn't title it that, I'm going to make that 11. So this will be 12. 12. That was the number I saw all day, every day on my way out there. 12 and 9.
Yeah, crazy.
It was crazy.
Yeah, and then when you were here, synchronicities too was nuts, dude.
Yeah, it was intense.
Crazy.
All right, peoples. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching the show. Thanks for supporting us and liking the videos. We love each and every one of you. If you have any questions or concerns, or want to talk to either one of us, we'll have our emails below. The link to BoneZee's channel is always in the description below. You can go sub to his channel. I think you have your email and stuff there too, right?
What's that?
You have your email listed on your channel?
Oh, I think I should. Oh.
Yeah, probably a good idea. Well, BoneZee will have his email listed on his channel.
Yeah, and to any of my subs watching this, I'll be putting a couple videos, at least one today, and then one tomorrow, and I'll explain why I haven't. It's been a crazy week and a half, which I'll talk about in my video. But
there you go.
Yeah,
I love it. All right.
And I love you guys. Love.
La la la. Love. Be the change that you want to see in this world, and we love you. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Bye.